Honda Civic Type R. When it comes to wild concept cars, Mugen's version of the Honda Civic Type R truly stands apart. This aggressive body kit was far more than just visual flair for an already ferocious car. It significantly improved aerodynamics and cooling efficiency. Mugen called it the RC20 GT package. Alongside the Mugen Carbon Aero body kit, the package included a new exhaust system, Brembo brakes, upgraded suspension, and various interior and exterior enhancements. In addition to engine performance upgrades, it also featured a one-way limited-slip differential. Civic Type R Mugen FN2. The third-generation Civic Type R came in two versions, the FD2 for the Japanese market and the FN2 for Europe and other global markets. As expected, the Japanese market version was more powerful, leaving European buyers at a disadvantage. However, the Mugen FN2 addressed all the shortcomings of the European model compared to its Japanese sibling. It was more powerful, producing 237 horsepower from the inline-4 K20ZA engine, and lighter than the standard FN2 Type R. As a result, it could accelerate from 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 6 seconds. Its biggest drawback is its extreme rarity. Only 20 units were produced, making the Mugen FN2 exceptionally difficult to find on the used car market. Mugen Fit Dynamite. One of the most intriguing ideas Mugen ever applied to a Honda debuted at the 2004 Tokyo Auto Salon. While the aggressive body kit and bright orange paint grabbed attention, the real highlight was the K20A engine producing 150 horsepower, sourced from the Honda Civic. However, 150 horsepower was still not enough for a Mugen Fit, so the company added a supercharger, boosting output to 260 horsepower. A few years later, Mugen continued refining the concept by fitting a supercharger to the standard Fit engine and pairing it with the same body kit, creating the Mugen Fit Spec D concept. Mugen S2000. The Mugen S2000 was not a mass production model, but rather a rolling showcase for King Motorsport's S2000 parts catalog. This meant the engine internals were untouched. However, numerous upgrades were installed, including a carbon fiber intake drawing air from the front of the radiator, a Mugen exhaust system, a low-temperature thermostat, and a Mugen ECU. These upgrades increased power by 14 horsepower. Car and driver recorded a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 5.4 seconds, 0.4 seconds quicker than the stock car. The Mugen S2000 also featured Mugen springs and dampers, a stiffer front sway bar, and a bump steer reduction kit designed by King. With all these components, the total cost was nearly 3 times the original MSRP of a factory Honda S2000. Still, the gold Mugen wheels alone made it truly stunning. Mugen Integra Type R. Before Mugen ever touched the Honda Integra Type R DC2, it was already a formidable weapon on both street and track. Introduced in 1995, it was homologated for FIA Group N and the GT World Cup, making it a legitimate race car. With exceptional grip and handling, its 1.8-liter DOHC VTEC inline-4 produced 195 horsepower and 130 pound-feet of torque. At the time, it had the highest horsepower per liter output of any naturally aspirated engine on the market and could rev to 8,500 revolutions per minute. It featured a close ratio 5-speed manual transmission, a helical limited slip differential, sport suspension and brakes, and weighed just over 2,600 pounds. The Integra Type R needed no improvement, yet Mugen left its mark with an effective aerodynamic body kit, suspension upgrades, and revised intake and exhaust components that allowed the high-revving engine to breathe more freely. The aero kit was particularly clever, especially the front bumper design, which increased downforce while extracting hot air from the engine bay. Honda Civic Mugen RR. Born as a challenge to the tuning scene of the early 2000s, this was the dream car for every JDM enthusiast. Yet only 300 units were produced for the Japanese domestic market. It's easy to understand why many claim the Civic Mugen RR to be the greatest JDM car of all time. Mugen equipped the RR with nearly everything from its parts catalog. The K20A engine received upgraded camshafts, exhaust, and a dedicated ECU, raising output to 237 horsepower, while reducing weight by 30 pounds compared to the standard Type R. The chassis was also thoroughly reworked, with a 5-stage adjustable suspension, high-performance brakes, 18-inch Mugen wheels, and extensive use of aluminum and carbon fiber components. As a result, the Mugen RR was 2 seconds faster than the standard Civic Type R around the Tsukuba circuit, a massive gap on such a short track. Honda NSX Mugen RR. If there is one concept car we wish had made it into production, it would be this one. Inspired by Super GT race cars, with a brake light mounted on the rear wing, the NSX RR was wider and lower, featuring a mix of carbon fiber and metal body panels. A central air intake directed airflow to the front-mounted radiator, and 2-piece slotted floating brake discs, while hot air was vented through extraction outlets on the hood. A roof-mounted intake was integrated into the rear windshield to channel cool air to the mid-mounted engine, representing the most significant change. The 3.2-liter V6 engine was mounted longitudinally rather than transversely, as originally intended by Honda's engineers. Unfortunately, the project was ultimately abandoned because the NSX RR was never fitted with a transmission. Developing a gearbox for a one-off vehicle proved far too costly.